Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Kato and I'm so glad you're joining me again today. It's not Friday, but I'm here with a cast card again. I love clean and simple design and I figured this image was perfect for it. I've completely gotten into the Halloween spirit this year. Usually don't make a lot of Halloween cards, but I don't know, I really gotten into it this year. And these images from Streamside Studios are so fun to color. The images I'm using today are digital stamps, and they're from the Streamside Studios Patchpals Halloween digital stamp set. I really like these digis because you can size them however you want, which will come in handy when you see my second image and my third image that I used. And you can print them on a lot of different papers, although I have found some issues watercoloring them, so it's not perfect for every medium, but for colored pencils, they're a lot of fun. They also don't take up any space in your craft room, so that's always a bonus. Now for this pumpkin, I am trying to make a very high contrasting coloring. I always try to do that, but I went a little bit more extreme this time. I went from a very deep red all the way to a bright yellow, and usually I would just stick to 3 different shades of orange, maybe 4. So the contrast between the darker spots and the lighter spots is pretty high in this one. This image is really easy to shade because you have the curves all mapped out with that patchwork, that stitched detail. Sean illustrates these patch pals. She has a lot of different patch pal sets, and they always have some stitched detail going on, so it's always super adorable. They're definitely some favorites of mine. I almost finished up the pumpkin. I will modify it a little bit more later, but now I'm moving on to the bats. And that's what I meant when I said that it's so fun that you can size these images however you want, because I made one bigger bat and one smaller bat, and that's always a really fun look on your card if you have similar images to make them different sizes. And that's not something you can really do with regular stamps. I'm just coloring those in warm gray tones. I am using my Faber Castell Polychromos pencils, by the way. Not sure if I mentioned that. And I am coloring on Fabriano Accademia paper. This is the 200 GSM paper. Now I mentioned I wasn't quite done with the pumpkin. I'm going to add a little bit of black in those facial details because I thought that would give a little bit more punch to them. Now I die cut a panel for these images to sit on, and I just laid them out, and then I know where I can place my drop shadow for the pumpkin. And this will ground the image a little bit more and make sure it doesn't just seem to be floating on the card. I'm using a dark gray for that, and then I can put my card together. I am just using 4 thick pieces of white cardstock and layering those behind my white panel. I'm using Barely Art Precision Craft glue. And then I had a decision to make. I wanted to put some pattern paper behind this panel, and I wanted to use purple or green. I would have loved to use both, but I don't really have many Halloween papers, so I didn't have that colorway. But I did have some lime green and some purple. Now you've already seen the picture of the card, but I really like both. I happened to decide on the purple today, but if I had time, I would have probably made both of these cards. I would have just colored more images, and it would have been really simple to make 2 of these cards with 2 different backgrounds. I just glued all of that onto my card base, and then I can also prop up my images on some foam squares, and this will make them float nicely. I also fold up the wings on the bats to give them a little bit more movement. For my matching envelope, I am doing something a little bit different today, but again, it's super simple and easy because that's what I always do. I folded my A2 sized envelope with my We Are Memory Keepers 123 punch board out of some purple cardstock. And I'm just reinforcing the score lines, and then I can adhere that together with my Barely Art Precision Craft Glue. I am just going to doodle on this card. It's really hard to use digital images or digital stamps on a matching envelope because my printer doesn't print on envelopes. There are definitely printers that do. You could just test it out for yourself, and you could color these images if you manage to print them on your envelope. But this was easy to doodle. I just drew one of those jack-o'-lantern faces on there with a white gel pen. And it doesn't really look like much just on the envelope, but when you see the card, it will make sense, which is nice too. And that finishes up the card and envelope. I really like the card. It's super simple, but I love the bright orange contrasted with the slightly more muted purple. I really love it. And those bats are adorable. They also have some stitched detail going on, and I really love that. I hope you liked the video and the card as well. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up and leave your thoughts in the comments below. I would love to read them. I'd also love to hear your thoughts on digital stamps. Have you used them before? What do you like about them? What do you maybe not like so much about them? I'd love to know. I'd also love it if you subscribe to my channel if you want to see more of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.